morning, early risers. Get up from under those covers as we have a great show planned for you today. My name is Alison Monez.
And I am Mona Lisa. And yes, we do. Today is International World Peace Day, which is celebrated every year on September 21st.
But before we get too carried away, let's say a peaceful good morning to Kendall. Good morning, Kendall.
Good morning. The National Mental Wellness Center has used World Suicide Prevention Day observances to repeat an appeal to persons with suicide ideations to avail themselves of the free support services available to them, including the suicide hotline 203.
Of course, persons who may suffer with suicide ideation, they may feel some form of hesitance. But on the helpline, there's confidentiality, there's a high level of confidentiality. So your information would be secure and so forth, and we have persons that also provide emotional support, you understand? So to be empathetic towards the individual and also direct them to whatever necessary resources that they may need. So in other words, they basically provide a safe, confidential environment.
World Suicide Prevention Day 2022 was observed on September 17th under the theme Creating Hope Through Action. Faced with threats from high waves at the VG Beach, the Castries Constituencies Council, or CCC, plans to review burial procedures at the Shock Cemetery. Most recently, high waves caused by the tropical storm Fiona resulted in significant damage to tombs there.
To the extent possible, we will try to protect as many of the trees as we can, and also in the meantime identify alternative trees. We believe that the coconut trees would be a better barrier in that area, in that the root system would hold the soil or the sand, but at the same time would not find itself affecting the surrounding tombs, which we have seen in the case of the almond trees. So some level of alternative trees will be placed in that area. In addition, some minor boulders, not as many as high up, but a few boulders would also be placed so as to protect some of the tombs very close to the cemetery. We also have at this stage to review whether we would how far towards the water, graves which are placed near the waters, how far from the water would we allow persons to actually do fresh burials in these tombs. So it's something that we have under review.
The Castries mayor says many of the tombs are in a dilapidated state due to prolonged neglect. She is encouraging families to maintain the tombs of their relatives. In its mission to create a sustainable 20-year plan for Soufrière, the Soufrière Regional Development Foundation, under the Soufrière 2040 banner, on Thursday hosted its Youth Symposium.
We hear so much about youth and youth empowerment and building the capacity of our youth, and this is one of those in which we intend to pour in as much as possible so we can garner and glean as much information so we can put together a document that guides the policy, the strategic policy that comes out of it. How much more can we speak about the vision, the focus of building our youth and developing our youth? Then having the actual persons who are critical in determining that is the youth themselves. So we are very excited that the young persons have come out this morning.
The symposium is one in a series designed to create the blueprint which will guide the community of Soufrière in the future. The all-female organization Where Ladies Talk is sending a strong message to perpetrators of violence against women, as it also calls for greater collaboration between the police and the community to address gender-based violence.
For the year thus far, we have heard of numerous reports of violence against women, of which 8 of them have resulted in homicides. As an all-women organization, we would like to denounce all forms of violence against women. Just yesterday, the family of Sasha Police laid her body to rest. The decomposed body of the late Miss Police was recovered days after she went missing. Where Ladies Talk would like to send our sincere condolences to her family and friends. Every homicide is one too many. We need to come together as a country to denounce the violence that is currently taking place. Crime does not affect only the family of the victims, but the country as a whole. For us to tackle the scourge of crime, the citizenry and the police need to take a proactive role and work together for a common goal in crime reduction.
The organization is urging women to be their sister's keeper and report all acts of violence against women to the police. Those are your top stories. Thanks for watching. Good morning.
Don't go too far. We'll be right back.
I'm sure many of you use this sign, but I'm not too sure if y'all know what it actually means. Initially, it was used to signal victory by Allied nations during World War II. Anti-war activists later adopted it as a symbol of peace, and today the gesture is known as the peace sign.
Ah yes, peace. I know Alison had a lovely conversation with Mr. Remy Topia from the Universal Peace Federation. So let's take a look.
Good morning, everybody. I am joined here with Mr. Remy Topia. How are you doing this morning?
Good morning, I'm very fine.
All right. So could you just tell us a little bit more about the Universal Peace Federation?
Yes, so my name is Remy Topia and I'm originally from France, but I have been living here a long time, more than 25 years. So all my children grew up here. The Universal Peace Federation is an organization, international organization that deal with peace on every level, on the world level, bringing head of states, people of the highest level to discuss and find solutions for peace, and also working on a more local level, like here, for example, in St. Lucia, with families, with the nation, because peace needs also to be built in ourselves, in our families, in our communities. So the Universal Peace Federation is working on all this level. It was founded by Reverend and Mrs. Moon. Reverend Moon passed away about 10 years ago, and so now his wife, Dr. Hagjahan Moon, is really leading the whole all the activities of this organization. Yes.
All right. Now, I know that we tend to think of peace when we think of wars and civil unrest, but what does peace mean to you?
Yes, so that's a good question. It's true. Peace in itself is a very complicated notion, very, very large. First thing we have to realize is that peace is the fruit of a relationship between people. So if the relationships are good, there is a chance we can have peace. If these relationships are not good, then we'll have wars and difficulties and troubles. And so the first place where we have this kind of war is already in ourselves. Now in the Bible we have Paul saying that I don't do what I want to do and I do what I don't want to do. You know, fighting. He called that the fight mind and body. And in fact this fight is always going on. There is no truce, no armistice is always there. We always have to be careful. So that's where we have to work. We have to address that, learn to overcome all these emotions, the hate or whatever. And then the family is the next level, especially husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend. Man-woman relationship is also very difficult. You know, in St. Lucia we know many troubles, many broken families. So we need to work also at that level. That's a strong point of the Universal Peace Federation. One motto is, of course, peace starts at home, but the family is the school of love and peace. So that's why family is important. And so the Universal Peace Federation has different programs of character education and conflict resolution to help deal with these troubles on the individual level, family level between husband and wife, and also on the national level.
All right, so now we know that this year's theme for World Peace Day is End Racism, Build Peace. So how can we use that, and what's the importance of that in the St. Lucian context?
Yes, so racism, I don't know how much there is racism here in St. Lucia, but surely there is difficulties to build some good relations. We have many crimes. We have a lot of anger in the nation. We have domestic violence, and so all this is at the base is always the same. The base is the tendency to think me first, greediness, my own point of view, before thinking of others. This is what causes the troubles. Racism is also the result of this kind of attitude. We need to anyway learn to appreciate every person, the differences, And this normally the first place when we learn to do that is at home. This is the place where normally parents should exemplify loving others, caring for others. Then naturally children can pick up from that. Racism is, it's just the extension of me first, my interest first, and I'm better than you, or something like that. In St. Lucia, I don't think there is too much. It's difference. When we speak of racism, it means different. When children are at school, they have a tendency to laugh someone different, even someone who cannot walk well, or cannot speak well. Children naturally have tendency to mock others like that. So this is how it leads to maybe racism. I had a son when we were in Augier, when my son was very small in Augier. We live in Augier-Bayeux-Fort, and our 3 children, they went to Augier Combined School. And our son was there, maybe when he was 6 years old, infant. And one day he came back from school. We were living not so far from school. He came back and he was so upset because at school someone was calling him Chin Chang Chong, because my wife is Asian, she's from Japan, so he has some little bit Asian feature. So they call him Chin Chang Chong, So children, I don't think meant so much, they did not do with evil thoughts, but children are children, they are like that. And especially maybe could see that it was upsetting my son, so even continue more. So he came back and did not want to go to school anymore. So we had to explain him, this is, anyway, he's like that, but anyway, he's not a bad guy, he's like that, don't worry. And anyway, this person was continuing like that, and few months like that. Anyway, we supported our son, so somehow he could still go to school and endure situation. And one day he came back home and he said, I was really upset today. This guy always calling me Chin Chang Chong like that. So today I answered to him, charcoal. What to say, but after that, there was no trouble. They became good friends. Somehow, this is, it's natural, this, the difference like that. So it's important too how in this situation the parents support their children, So and then next, what the United Nations say for this International Day of Peace is also build peace. And really, we have to build peace. This is it's not coming by itself.
Stick around as Mr. Remy has much more to say.
So is there anything in particular that the Federation will be doing to observe this Day of Peace?
Yes, one event that the Federation is, the Universal Peace Federation is doing is a conference bringing together the religious leaders to discuss about that. And the theme, we took a larger theme than just the UN one. The theme is religious leaders and building a peaceful nation together. Especially, I think religious leaders have a big responsibility. Mrs. Moon always says that if we compare in the human body, you have the head and the body. And so the head, the mind, is directing the body to do good things, to serve and to do things. So she says, on the national level or international, we can see a little bit the same. The religious leaders are like the head and should direct the political leaders and civil society leaders to do well for the nation. So like the mind and body, something like that. So the religious leaders are normally in the position to be the mind, to give the direction and to maybe also show the example like that. So the goal of this gathering, these religious leaders, is to learn also between religious leaders. We have to learn to cooperate. We finished this time where each one have their own theology and separate, and the more you go through theology, the more it separates people. So in St. Lucia we have many different denominations, but also independent churches. They are all their own speciality, and we have to learn to cooperate. We have to change a few things, like we have often we bring this verse of the Bible. It's a proverb that says, he who spares the rod hate his son, and he who discipline his child love his son. This is normally this what we say, like spare the rod, spoil a child. Of course, many generations have used that and followed that, but this needs to be revised. In fact, in the modern parenting, and that gives much better, much more efficient. In reality, we motivate children to do not by hitting them or slapping them. We have to motivate them when they do something good. We have to notice it, and so we have to bring the good points. And what they don't do so well, we better leave it on the side. Children are immature, so it's normal. There will be always things they do that are not good, So if we focus on everything, we are always like behind the children, like nagging them, So it doesn't give good result. It brings kind of children that don't feel free. They are angry, rebellious, like that. So good parenting, in fact, now is we almost don't need to use the rod, you know. So using the rod the way it is written, in fact, today would be considered like bad parenting. So still we have work to do on that level. I remember attending a conference organized here in St. Lucia, organized by UNICEF. This was led by CARICOM at that time, Dr. Morella Joseph. And the goal was to end corporal punishment in the school of St. Lucia. So we had the teachers and many principals and even some students. But in fact, the teachers and the principals, they were lost if we would stop the corporal punishment, you know. But how we are going to discipline our children? They were lost. So it did not go to the disappointment, I guess, of these people of the UNICEF, you know. They could not do anything. And even I remember even some students, I think from St. Mary's College, you know, they have the tradition, I don't know now if they continue, to cane, you know, the principal cane. And these students, they were saying clearly, we prefer to be caned than finish. We don't have to write 50 times, I will behave well, or stay after school to do something, you know. Three canes, caning and finished. So still St. Lucia was not ready yet for that. But I think the Ministry of Education has been doing some program in some school to show that there is some alternative. And we need to do the same for parenting. You know, parenting too, we need to realize there is better ways to parenting today than using the rod. And anyway, you can use the rod maybe until 10, 12 years old, but after, if you continue to use just the rod as the only way to discipline and guide your children, they will rebel, and after, as soon as they reach 18-year-old or what, they go away, you know. So as soon as you turn your back, they do their own things. So it's not efficient, you know, as good parenting. So that's one focus of the education that we need to develop here in St. Lucia. So another strong point of the Universal Peace Federation is, I think, also to show that in fact God is not this kind of God who is just a God of judgment. You know, the tendency today is to see God just judge if you do something bad, being behind, often telling children, if you don't behave well, God will punish you. This also, we have to understand the nature, God's nature is a parent. God is a parent. As a parent, we love our children. Even they do bad things, even they go away, even they can turn against us. But normally parents, especially good parents, they will never stop loving their children. Good parents cannot hate their children. So we have to understand we are like that because this is how God created us, because God is like that. So we have to now kind of upgrade our understanding of God as a parent. We want to emulate God in a sense, This is, we want to be like God in a sense. So if we just focus on a God who is a God of, judgment and, almost like a strength, we emulate, then we become parents who do like that. But if we understand God is a God of a parental love that cannot stop loving his children, we then become also better parents. We can reflect God and we can really be at the image of God through that. So that's one strong point of the teaching of the Universal Peace Federation. God as a parent, and parental love. And you know, God gave us free will, and God cannot build a better world without our cooperation. It means God cannot force me to do His will. God cannot force me to be good. We all have that in mind somehow, we know that. But today, many people think that at some point God will force people to be good, you know, all the good one go heaven, the bad one go hell, you know. It's difficult to believe that suddenly God would stop, you know, respecting our free will, because also the relationship with human being is based on this free will. We relate freely. The good friend and, you know, the best relation are made free. You know, if you are forced to love someone, okay, you will do, but the joy of this is much less. Huh? So it's the same with God. If God forces us to love Him, then the relationship that will come out, this relation of love, will be a much lower level, much less satisfying for human being and for God. That's why what Jesus, you know, Jesus called Reverend and Mrs. Moon directly, you know. So He revealed this to them, that He is a really loving sister person, you know. So Mrs. Moon, who lead this movement now, she knows very well Jesus' heart, and she's really saying Jesus is absolutely true, sincere, loving. You know, His love is a true love. A true love cannot change. True love is eternal, absolute, unchanging. It cannot change. So today, many of the idea we have is that one day, you know, Jesus will stop forgiving, and then, you know, like the army of heaven will, you know, kill all those who are not good. This is a terrible misunderstanding of Jesus' heart. So the Universal Peace Federation wants to make this straight. Jesus is absolutely good. He cannot stop forgiving. So we have to understand, we too, we have to be like that. We have to become people who are also people of true love and who don't change, you know, like that.
All right. Thank you so much for taking this time out to be with us. Your words were inspiring, and I hope everyone out there, I hope you understood, I hope you learned, and if anything, I hope you take that peace starts within us. Yes. But again, I would like to say thank you, and just keep watching.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this morning's Soca Size session. Leading the wine, we have Sarah, Laurie, and Shani. Let's get ready to sweat with Soca Size. For this morning's workout, we will be doing a cardio soca jam routine to Do Play That by Marshall Montano. Let's get moving. So we're going to begin with our right leg, toe, tapping, hands side to side. 4, 3, 2, 1, and 4, 3, 2, 1, pump the arms, pump. We're moving the core as well. 4, 3, 2, now we're gonna shuffle, push, move those legs, turn, 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 gonna tap, Tap and pull. Tap. 4, 3, 2, left leg. Let's go. And my low impact, you can skip the jump and just tap the leg. 4, 3, 2, pump, and 4, 3, 2, shuffle, push, turn, 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 pull, and 4, 3, 2, 1, tap. 4, 3, 2, 1, pump. 8. Push. Turn. 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 Left leg. Tap. 4, 3, 2, 1, pump. 4, 3, 2, 1, push. Turn. 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 That was this morning's session. Thank you for choosing to flaunt with Soca Size. We hope that you're feeling sexy, sultry, and strong.
All right, this brings us to the end. Before we I'd like to leave you with these few words.
Peace is not the absence of power. Love.
That is right. Peace starts within us. So go out and have a peaceful day. Isn't that right, Mona Lisa?
That is so right.
Bye.
Peace flowing like a river.